I'd like to call the meeting to order. Roll call.
It's spinning just to be easy. The board docs is, you're in. You are. I'm in it. Thank you for your patience. Ms. Connor. I'm now going to take the roll. Sorry, thank you for the pause. Ms. Connor.
Here.
Ms. Kratz.
Here.
Ms. Nyman. Absent. Mr. Bradford.
Here.
Mr. Roger Grove.
Here.
Dr. Weir.
Here.
Dr. Wiley.
Here.
Mr. Brophy. Absent. Mr. Penarello.
Here.
7 present.
Let's rise for the pledge of allegiance and moment of silence. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There's no one signed up for a public comment period number 1, so we're going to go to discussion information.
This evening, we have a facilities presentation for you with a plethora of items that we'd like to bring back to you for discussion, information. We have Mr. Bramble, Director of Facilities, here this evening. We also have some guests in the audience that are going to assist Mr. Bramble, and one of which you've heard from Mr. Crum from Suburban Water Technology. We have an update on some of the questions that we had with regard to that. We also have Bob Ramsey from Bash High School. And as we get into some of the auditorium discussion, we're going to invite Mr. Ramsey to the podium as well. So I'm going to put it in Mr. Bramble's hands to begin the presentation.
Good evening. The first item, the project to repair the chiller, number 2 chiller at Bash, and to repair the number 2 chiller at Middle School West. Currently, the Bash chiller is being disassembled, and that's progressing. Nothing unexpected so far. When the motor comes out, that'll be sent back to the factory, and then when that gets back, everything will be wrapped back up. As had been asked, will be test run when it's put back together, but the, let me see, I have the text here. That'll be test run when it's put back together, but the 12-month warranty on the repair won't start until the official spring startup. When JCI comes back to do that, the warranty will start then. For the air-cooled chiller at Middle School West, this work is actually complete. JCI, they replaced the failed fan VFD. They replaced the failed compressor heater, repaired the leaks, and recharged the chiller. That was test run and completed on January 18th. Now, as far as JCI goes, the Bash chiller and the Middle School West chiller service contracts will expire at the end of June. And the Middle School East new chillers, their warranty is up the end of May. So I'll be asking JCI to give us a quote for the York chillers at all 3 schools. JCI is a CoStarz vendor. There are other CoStarz vendors. I may solicit at least one more price just to make sure that we're getting the best deal on that. But it has to be, in my mind, someone that specializes in York. So there's only a couple other big vendors in the area that do that.
Any questions for Mr. Bramwell on chillers? Can you give an update? We were successful with the replacement at East late spring, early summer, ran okay through the summer, is that correct?
Yes, yeah, the chillers at East have been running good ever since I've been on the scene.
Okay.
Like I said, the warranty is up, so we want to get them under contract for PMs, and we get preferred rates on service.
Excuse me,
This-
how long is the warranty on them now, once you, re-up on them? How long does that go for?
The one we had was 3 years, so I was going to solicit for another 3 years.
Thank you.
Gilbertsville Elementary, the water quality update. Suburban, well, I don't know, Jeremy, do you want to
Sure.
talk first about that?
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for letting me stop out again to talk to you about the water quality at Gilbertsville Elementary. After the last meeting, when I presented about the options for different types of water treatment to treat the PFAS and PFOA in the water, I looked at resin manufacturers, and we wanted to get an idea of how long the resin would last so that we could budget for maintenance. Resin Tech is the manufacturer that we would use for purchasing the resin. So they gave me a list of different ions in the water that we'd have to test for so they could put it into their model to determine an approximate lifespan of the resin. I got the data actually yesterday, so I apologize, I don't have any slides to show you, but the data I received yesterday, I gave that to Resin Tech today, and they put it into their model, and their best estimate is the media should last us around 10 years, which was amazing to me. Not gonna lie, I thought it would be less than that, and I can't look through a crystal ball and guarantee that it's gonna last for 10 years, but based on the levels that we have, being that we do have such low levels, they're expecting the resin to perform very well and last a long time. So cost estimates, I would say if you break it down per year over that 10-year period, you're looking at about $1,000 a year, which honestly is amazing. You can't purchase water for that. So I think that this is very optimizing. It looks good that we can treat the water for a relatively low cost and maintenance isn't going to break the bank. So it was very positive.
Mr. Crum, can you take the board back to the decision of carbon filters versus resin? Why did you land on resin?
Yep, no problem. So I was leaning more toward resin. Historically, we had used carbon because that was the only technology available. Now that resin has been tested and proven and the DEP has a lot of experience with this, the resin, you need less of it. So you need contact time to remove certain parameters from the water. Carbon, in order to remove PFAS and PFOA, it takes 20 minutes of contact time, whereas with resin, it only takes 5 minutes. So you need far less volume of the resin than carbon. The resin does cost more per cubic foot, but you need far less of it. So there's less vessels, less mechanical parts, less maintenance. The carbon that we've used has not lasted that many years. And I wouldn't expect it to last 10 years. So when I saw that this resin can potentially last 10 years, that was very good.
And you've seen success with this on other entities that you've operated on, and being other schools and other public facilities and private facilities.
So we haven't personally used the resin. I asked DEP for their input because obviously they see more of it than I do. We operate 250 water systems and we've only had to treat 4 systems so far. I do have 4 more that I'm going to be treating in the near future, and I've switched those proposals to the resin. For the reasons I specified, it's less of it, less maintenance, smaller vessels, less cost in the long run. So We personally have not, but I, talked to DEP engineers and they've told me that other facilities have absolutely used this and had great success.
Hi, I had read up on the difference between the two of them, and it said that the resin doesn't taste as good. Have you heard anything like that, that the carbon tastes better?
I have not. The only thing I could think of with that is carbon naturally takes out any other tastes and odors in the water. So maybe there was some underlying factor that the carbon inadvertently treated something else that was in the water, so it made it taste better.
So it's not like a known thing?
No.
It doesn't taste awful?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Resin, so just to give you an example though, I don't know if you have a water softener in your home. Resin is used for softening. It's used to take out iron, manganese, other metals. So it's a different type of resin than what's in a water softener, but it's similar.
So, Mr. Ramble, if you would, just stay at the podium, Jeremy, but can you share with the board a little bit of what you, from Aqua? We've made contact on a couple of occasions and just where we stand with that. And the question came up in discussion at our last meeting about public hookup.
Right, I contacted Aqua and talked to the regional engineer, and I was directed to go to the website and fill out the application for service. I did that, submitted that, and heard back from them the end of last week with a couple of additional questions. I answered those. They're going to evaluate the request, and they will let us know, A, if public water is reasonably available, and then if it is, what it would take to get it to the school. But then if it is available, then we would have to have it engineered and go through a lot more detailed application process to get the public water. So it seems like the most expedient thing to do would be to move ahead, because the filtration system from Suburban can be installed and up and running a lot quicker than we would be able to get public water into the facility. And I guess, pot of gold at the end of the rainbow might be if someday the EPA declares the Boyertown landfill Superfund site, then the EPA would pick up the cost of installing public water for all the facilities within the zone, and the school is within the zone.
Mr. Crum, would it be possible for you to give us, back to the board, a written proposal of the cost structure, time period, and a little more formal? I know you presented some estimates, formalize some of that. I think one of the recommendations, having spoken to you numerous times, Mr. Bramble, our discussions among the administration staff at this point in time, is we have known detection. To the board, I think in our best interest for all of our students, all of our staff, that we move forward with a known plan to which we can remove and reduce PFOs, PFAs in the water. If there is some opportunity for us in the future to hook up with public water, that can be certainly something that we can look to. Right now, there does not seem to be a rush by Aqua. We don't even know where a main would be. It could essentially be 2 miles away that we would be responsible for hookup for that, or it could be right next door. We're really not sure exactly what or if it's available, but we do know that we have an opportunity to move forward with the possibility of reducing these in a fairly reasonable amount of time, which would probably be close to the start of next school year in a 4 to 6 month time period based on some of the things that you discussed.
Right.
Is there anything that we'd be missing that we haven't talked about with any of the systems? The system essentially is a large majority of canisters, right? That make up most of what the system is itself.
Yeah, there would be 2 or 4 canisters once I finalize the design. I can submit that to you for your formal review, and then timeline, I would say we're looking at installing during the summer at this period, because by the time we get approval from the board, our engineer put the application together, submit it to DEP, Then they have a few months to do their review. I would say we're looking at summer. And then we would have it up and running before the next school year.
So I know it's pretty small, but we have space to do that. There's an area where there's canisters to go.
There is, with the resin, there's enough space to put the canisters.
Other questions, thoughts from the board in regards to where we currently are? Would the board be okay with us receiving a formal proposal from Suburban Water? Mr. Lentz, in terms of financial means, Mr. Crum had mentioned that probably estimated around a $30,000 project with 15 of that.
For engineering. So
Engineering
that's where I was
purposes,
gonna
like-
ask how the board would like the proposal. Do you want a lump sum proposal, or do you want the professional service of the PE separate from our installation of the media?
Yeah, so it's a great question. So we'd like the professional service piece broken out. And the rationale is that professional services do not have to be bid. So if there was ever a question, because the $30,000 project total exceeds the threshold for bidding, in particular prevailing wage, having that professional service agreement come in separate clearly delineates the service from whatever the, I'll say, equipment, materials, with the resin installation that would be taking place.
And you just mentioned prevailing wage. For our section of the installation, would that fall under prevailing wage?
Prevailing wages have to be paid if the total cost is under $25,000 for labor.
If it's under 25,000? For labor or for labor and materials?
For the labor.
If it's anything under.
Correct,
Okay.
which is why I'm requesting that you give two separate proposals to the district that tie to getting this project completed, because the professional services can be approved by the board for the professional service piece separate from the equipment piece. Mrs. Sultanic's nodding in agreement.
Yes. Can't see you, but you look wonderful.
The other thing is to answer Dr. David Hayes with regards to funding, we would pay this out of capital project funds for the completion. And again, we'll continue to talk how those funds get replenished and are scheduled to be replenished in our budget planning. So we do have those funds available for this expenditure.
I think Mr. Crum, two other things that first is a proposal on this as quickly as possible. We can bring this back to the board for their consideration as soon as, if we were to get their approval, we can move as quickly as possible then. The second would be our two other well buildings. Then making sure that you're able to get out and understand the concepts, similar concepts to those buildings, while we don't have detection right now, forming up a proposal for each of those buildings in a similar way that you would do the GES, so that we can bring that eventually back to the board as well.
I'll prioritize Gilbert, so I'll have that to you next week then.
Yeah.
That way you can start looking at the proposal.
Yeah, that'd be great. We do have a meeting a week from today.
Oh.
And if possible, to bring that back in front of them 1 week from right now.
Okay.
Would be great. Thank you. Anything else in regards to the water?
The question I would have is, what's being done in the interim? He's saying this would be in place over the summer.
Yeah, the interim is we're maintaining. We're well below the thresholds to which, and Mr. Crum's presentation last time, questions came up about, should we be servicing water through water bottles, things of that nature. And, I think knowing what we have versus what we don't have oftentimes is probably best served, that we're meeting the needs and the requirements under. We have known detection, and that's okay. We want to make sure we can drive that down in a reasonable amount of time to do that. So in the interim is that we're maintaining status quo, and that's on the recommendation from Suburban. Mr. Crum, do you want to speak to any of that from a professional mindset and what from a professional service?
Yeah, so what we're seeing across the board with other facilities is, as long as you're meeting the requirements, they're basically just letting it, not, I don't say letting it go, they're just serving the water because it meets the MCL, it meets the maximum contaminant level that the DEP has outlined. Boyertown School District, by these last two meetings that I've attended, is going above and beyond and treating the water even though they're not mandated to treat the water. So that's, again, very kind of the district to do. We have other facilities that are much closer to the MCL, and those we're urging to, maybe start thinking about treatment sooner, being that Gilbertsville was 8.4 parts per trillion, and so they're almost half the MCL still. So we haven't had that sense of urgency. But being the district is moving toward treatment regardless of the MCL being exceeded, we're going to expedite it as fast as we can. If we get the permit back sooner and the district would like us to do the install before the end of the school year, we certainly can. This equipment's readily available. We could have it within days. So once we get the DEP permit, if the school said, hey, we want you to treat it in May or April, whenever that time frame is, we would certainly do it sooner. We could address that once we get the permit.
I have a hypothetical for you. What happens if a month, were we testing monthly?
It's quarterly.
So what if the next quarter it's an 18? Then what would happen?
The running annual average is what they go by. So they take the last, the
Yeah.
previous 4 quarters and they
I'm
average
sorry,
it.
I understood that because we talked about that before, but I'm just wondering, like, if it's 18, our kids are still drinking that water. That's, while the average for the year is fine, obviously it wasn't fine then.
That my opinion would be that we address it as a group then, and we could even at that point apply for an emergency permit with DEP, and that would possibly expedite that process where we get that permit quicker. I've had times where facilities have had E. coli in the water, and we've expressed our concerns and asked for this emergency permit and had it granted within days, and then we could install it right away.
Okay.
So that's option 1. Option 2 would be to go to bottled water for the short period of time until we get the system installed. So I think that if that happens, I would really advocate for coming up with an alternative source, either bottled water or getting an emergency permit. Because even though, like you were just saying, the running annual average may be still below, that's the most current levels. So I think I would push for doing something else first.
Okay.
And again, Mr. Crum, maybe speak to the bottled water thing, right? That's often a go-to. Why aren't we replacing with bottled water?
I think currently.
Speak a little bit to that.
Yeah, currently, because the levels are not over the MCL and not close to the MCL, that's why I'm not really pushing for bottled water. To your point, if it were closer to 18, I think it would be better for us to be going to bottled water. But being that our levels aren't close to the MCL, I think that we're okay to keep using the water as is. And I also think that as a whole, I don't even know, do they use water at the schools for food prep, or does that not happen anymore?
They use it for mostly in cleaning products, not so much in the cooking. Most of it is fully prepared, it's heated,
Okay.
so forth. We're not making, we're
So
not
the
creating
fountains,
soups
Right,
and
it's
things
the
of
water
that
fountains
nature.
that I would, the bottle fillers. So that's the other thing that we could discuss too. Those bottle fill stations, if the school has those, LK is probably the brand of bottle fill stations you have, and they do make a filter that removes and reduces PFAS. So that's something else that could be discussed if those levels start going up, that we could put those in for temporary, and the DEP allows that.
What would something like that cost?
The fillers are less than $100. I investigated that, but the bottle fillers we have are older models and there's no filters in them. Now, I could probably have a plumber do something with the piping and cut those in. I was hoping it was just a matter of unscrewing the regular filter and screwing in the filter that takes out PFAS, but that's not the case.
Can we get a price? I mean, well, I guess we have to ask the board, would the board do getting a price on that? Just as something to tie us over for the next 6 months?
Well, that'd be a couple $100, but there's only 2, and there's 6 more water fountains in the building. There's 2 bottle fillers and 6 regular water fountains.
I could take a look at those with you, because if the water fountains have water lines that are accessible, we have filter housings that you can install.
Oh, okay,
We can look at that.
sure.
It's like he said, though, for a couple $100 for each fountain, typically there's some way to do that.
I think that would put the public's mind at ease in the interim.
Mr. Crum, what's the success rate on that? Are you seeing
They
it
do
drawn
work
down?
well. I've actually seen them take the water down to non-detect.
Okay.
And with even higher levels than what you have. So they do work well.
Let's see what we can do on the two, obviously the two fillers that we have, but if there is something outside that can be attached on the line on fountains alone, we can do that in the interim. Yeah. If you can have that back to us next week, that would be.
I'll do my best for that one. That one I have to investigate those fountains.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'll do my best for that one.
Okay.
Just one more clarifying question. How often is the water being tested?
For PFAS and PFOA, it's quarterly.
When's the next date for testing?
I have to confirm, I believe we did it in January.
I think late January.
I think it was January, so it would be April.
Mr. Crum, why did you, and Mr. Bramble, now that we're on the sense of water, can you go through a little bit more of the depth of what we test, what our draws are, and the different types of things that we're testing on that are more recurring? PFOAs and PFAs have just been a entity that's been tested over the last couple of years that's come into the fix, but we've been testing on those well due to the fact that we are technically tell us what the well is again.
It's a non-transient, non-community water system. So what happens is every year the DEP, they don't publish the calendar. It's just there, just readily available to the public, and it shows you what's required for each particular year. Other things that are tested on a regular basis are nitrates, which are from fertilizers, coliform bacteria, obviously the harmful coliform bacteria is E. coli. That's a more acute health risk, so we do those monthly. So anything that would be something that you would get potentially sick right away, it's tested more frequent. Things like nitrates are once a year. Lead and copper is every 3 years. Heavy metals like arsenic are typically every 3 years. So these things are tested on a regular cycle so that we can make sure that there's no long-term exposure. Even things like radiologicals, like uranium and gross alpha, those are done every 9 years. So there are different parameters that we test for all the time. So what we do is one of our staff members, she constantly looks at that DEP website for those calendars because, like I said, we operate over 200 water systems and they're all on different cycles. So we have a master spreadsheet that has every water system that we operate, and then we have every water test that's required each month. Furthermore, we also visit the school weekly, and we have to test for the disinfectant residual, which those schools all use chlorine. So we're monitoring the chlorine, the pH every week, and then that all gets reported to the Pennsylvania DEP too. So those are all things that we continuously test for to make sure that the water's safe.
So obviously, there's a lot that goes into wells, and most especially public wells that we have. And obviously, due to the landfill, that it's become more recent in the detection of PFOAs and PFOs in the water systems has drawn to this. So I would suggest if you could get to us by next week, something on our local filters, what we can do as a possible preventive leading up to a larger scale of the full water system there.
Because even if it's an external filter that's mounted somewhere near the fountain, I mean, it's not going to look pretty necessarily, but it's going to serve a function and it's only temporary. So that's what we could look at and do something for temporary.
Yeah, are you aware that Aqua wants to put a water tower on top of the dump?
No, I'm not. I wasn't aware.
Yeah, they want to put a water tower on top of the dump. And I was also told that they're running out of wells. And some of the developments are being turned down told that they have to drill their own wells for their own supply for the developments, because Aqua is running short on supply.
That
I
happens.
go to the township meetings, I
That's a know.
know.
lot, yeah. I mean, I'm not affiliated obviously with Aquasol, and I don't know any of their history and background, but it's something that happens, you build more and more developments and there's only so much water. So I could see that as a potential. We have another public water system on Gilbertsville Road that we're doing PFAS treatment at. We're just waiting for the permit, and they, I think, attempted to hook up to Aqua, but they were turned down as well. It's an apartment complex, so there was too much demand, they said, so they're gonna stick to their wells and we're doing treatment. We're just waiting for the permit.
All right, I didn't know if you knew that or not.
No, that's, yeah, I don't, it's kind of odd, but I don't know.
Thank you.
Oh, of course.
Anything else for Mr. Crum? Okay, all right. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Have a good
Appreciate it.
evening.
Look forward to that next week. Thank you.
There's a form of townships that have
Okay, next is the Boyertown Area High School stage rigging. This is the new auditorium. When the auditorium was built, the rigging that was installed was the industry standard. What you see on the back wall there that looks like stripes are hemp ropes, or manila ropes, I'm sorry, that move the lights and move any scenery that's hanging, and also control the fire curtain. Those ropes are original. There was a safety assessment done in 2022, and there were a list of deficiencies that were no longer compliant because the standards have changed. There's no building code governing these, but there are ANSI standards. The cabling isn't correct anymore for the heavier stuff. So we had Sapsis Rigging come in 22, do an evaluation. There were some repairs made back then. And what we're proposing now is the next stage of repairs to change everything on that back wall. And there's some other things that you can't see on the wall behind the front of the stage that would be changed also. That's the 3/8 manila line with fusible links that can stretch and shrink and also dry out over the years. And that's going to be replaced with cable. The rope blocks that were installed improperly for today's standards. So the rope blocks will be changed. And the manila purchase lines are showing signs of wear and dry rot. So they will all be changed also. That would be done by Sapsis Rigging. Sapsis Rigging is a CoStar's vendor, and they gave us a proposal which is, I had them updated for us, $69,955. The other vendor was a company in Pittsburgh. They were $99,800. I spoke to Sapsis, and they would be available to accomplish this after school is over. And we would like to get that on the agenda to be approved for summer work for the auditorium equipment.
So I know you have Mr. Ramsey here in the audience, and I know Mr. Ramsey, if you wanted to step up and just share some insight, just share with us, if you would, just your BASH teacher, other titles that you take on. I know there's a multitude of those titles, but share a little bit about that background, and obviously you can speak a little bit to this process that we're in right now.
My name is Bob Ramsey. I am a business teacher at the high school, and then one of my stipend positions is the stage director. I've been doing that since 2017, and the auditorium since then, the amount of use that it gets has easily tripled with the number of renters and people that come in and use it. And it's a phenomenal space. Just one of the problems that we're running into is we need to do some maintenance and try to get onto a schedule so that it's not a $70,000 bill all at once, but something where we get it fixed now and then keep it going. These are pieces of equipment with the fly rails that students use for all kinds of different activities. Right now, we're getting ready for Drowsy Chaperone, and one of my students will be flying a plane out of the ceiling using these ropes. So we want to make sure that they are as safe as possible, because these are things that are holding hundreds of pounds of weight over top of the stage. So that's what we're looking to do today, or to get pushed forward today.
So again, I think one of the things, this came out of an original study in 2022. There was some work done as part of that study. This is the back end of the other items that are now come due. We would estimate, and I don't know, you have an idea, would this be summer work?
Yes.
And could it be completed over the summer?
They tell me it could be, yes, they said a couple weeks.
Okay. In terms of getting it up.
Are there any safety concerns in the immediate future, like the spring?
It's been there for as long as it has, and we're trying to make sure that we fix it before it becomes an immediate safety issue. So no, I don't feel like right now it's an immediate, like, we need to do it today, but we need to get it done as soon as we can.
Okay. While we're looking at rigging, curtains, how are they on certification?
They're current.
They are current,
Stage
okay.
current.
When's the next?
Off the top of my head, I can't tell you, but I know that they're all current.
Sure.
The understanding with the curtains that we have now, they're not treated curtains.
Okay.
They are inherently flame retardant, so
Okay.
they don't have to have that repeat treatment.
Yep, okay.
I know when Mr. Shield was here, I went through and gave him all of the manufacture dates, and because of the dates, he said, we're good.
Sure. Yeah, and again, while we're looking at rigging, might as well look at the curtains, because if it's a year, might as well add it into this.
We're taking the pipe down
And again,
anyway.
like to your point, we're gonna have another bill, on top of this, so, okay.
All right, any other questions on auditorium rigging? Mr. Ramsey, thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Absolutely.
that. And we asked Mr. Bramble just update the committee here on just our two larger capital projects that will be starting as soon as this spring, probably early April, which involve both the turf field and the BES project. So, Mr. Bramble, why don't you continue?
Okay, we had the kickoff meetings, Zoom meetings for, first here we have the Boyertown Elementary School project. There was a meeting, the three primes were involved. Just some of the basics at the start of a project. Principal points of contact were identified. All the contractors have to submit to CHA their safety programs. There'll be project meetings bi-weekly. Once the project starts, those meetings will be in person, not virtual. They were given instructions on applications for payment, instructions for submitting prevailing wage certifications. Contractors are responsible for daily site cleanup, and that's something that we facilities will also supervise. The work will start after spring break to remove the ceilings in the hallway. That's been coordinated with Mr. Keel, the principal. They want to get the ceilings out of the way so they can hit it hard once school is over. Everything will be secured. There's nothing that's a concern as far as safety. It won't be pretty, but that will remain, the ceilings will remain out for the whole following school year. And again, we'll monitor the conditions for safety. The contractors, if they start earlier, will be in at night after the students leave. And we'll be leaving with our custodians at 11:30.
And that's just the plenum area in the hallways, correct? That's not
Yes.
in the classroom? Okay.
Yeah, that's not the classroom. The classroom ceilings will remain until after school's over, and they'll be replaced. The classrooms get worked in, will be replaced before school starts. Other things, I know the roofers have been crawling around on the roof to plan, because we accepted the option to have the whole roof done in one summer instead of two. So they want to make sure they get their ducks in a row to jump on that right away. And other details, like the parking won't be an issue. There's plenty of parking there. So the contractors who are working at night will be out of the way. They won't obstruct the parent pickup or the teacher parking. That's basically everything for Boyertown L. The turf project is pretty much the same basic kickoff. Points of contact established for both projects. Jamie Lynch is heading it up for CHA. The contractors, again, are responsible for safety. Since the contractors will be doing some work before the school year is over during the day at the high school, we emphasize the etiquette of working when the students are around, smoking, things like that, music, the things that aren't permitted to keep the site tight and not be disruptive. When they have materials delivered, there's an assigned laydown area for the equipment and the materials that'll be there. And for the contractor parking areas, they can't really do a lot, because one of the things they'll need is fill dirt that's being removed from the stadium. So, but they can get a lot of the staging done. And there are things that need to be moved out of the way, soccer goals and things like that. We have to get all of them moved. Substantial completion for both turf fields is August 28th. And again, we'll be monitoring the sites between us, and I'm sure Nick will be out there also looking at his turf fields. But we'll be monitoring the sites to make sure everything's clean, there's no debris blowing around. And the project manager for the turf project is managing the site.
Do all of the workers have clearances, child abuse and those
Yes.
type of things?
Yes, I believe that the Boyertown L have been submitted already. And the turf project are coming.
And they get reviewed also. Anything in question comes through our HR department as well, and gets reviewed by Mr. Hahn and myself in making decisions on any of those components to it. Last evening, just to update the board, the Culverdale Township took a vote of acceptance of the final plans. The record of plans now are being processed for the turf fields. Our solicitor's office will be getting a copy. What that triggers is we work closely with the Berks County Conservation District, who heads and oversees many of the requirements related to everything that we're doing underground, the earth and soil and all the things related. So they're interested in a pre-construction meeting. Now that the plans and everything's been adopted and accepted, that meeting can take place. So we do look like we're on schedule. It looks like while we had thought March was probably going to be the time that they may put some shovels in the ground, it looks like that probably won't happen until May. And most of that is because of the linking of the need where the two fields are going to work together, and some of the soils that are going to have to be transferred from one to the other. It won't delay the projects in any way. It's just going to push the start date back, but the work itself shouldn't be delayed. So Mr. Palladino was excited due to the fact that field, we may be able to optimize that field, the alternative field, for lacrosse field for a great bit of the spring and not have to give that field up as we once thought we were going to have to do. So that's a positive on that. Substantial completion by the end of, I think it's the 25th, 26th of August for both fields has been identified. That's the schedule. And we've already made some corrections to the scheduling of some events, making sure that, we can fit everything in as needed and necessary for those events.
Dr. David Heiser.
Yep.
I am going to, probably going to jinx this, but I'm assuming Mr. Palladino has alternative fielding for, cases gets pushed past the August 28th deadline or expected completion date, with the rest of the pack.
Yeah, we've already started to move some things, making sure, we're well beyond Labor Day with really hosting on any of those two sites, with the idea that substantial completion may not allow us final approval to be actually participating on those fields. So yes, we've taken that into consideration. And I'm certain many of our opponents would welcome remaining at their place rather than ours in most cases. But he has coordinated a number of those things. So fingers crossed that we have a relatively decent summer of weather and that everything can remain on schedule as it is. Okay, Mr. Bramble, anything more?
That is the facilities presentation.
Okay. Any other questions from Mr. Bramble? I do want to give a large shout out to Mr. Bramble, his team, our grounds crew, facilities folks. It's been a daunting 2 weeks, as I'm sure you're feeling it in your own driveways or have felt it in your own driveways. Multiply that out 100 times, with some of the lots and the work that we're doing. We're still continuing to do work. Even today, we've partnered with and outsourced with a landscaping company to actually push snow piles, remove snow, front end loaders that have taken snow away, and larger dump trucks to really remove it as needed in preparations for obviously in order to get our sight lines better and trying to pull out along some corners, but also trying to prepare in the inevitability of future snow. It does look like it's going to get cold again come this weekend and possibly in the next week. So not a lot of melt is happening, but he and his team have done a fabulous job in getting things ready. Quigley has done a wonderful job in getting buses in the lots and everything, getting us back up and operationalized. After 2 days with substantial snow and the cold that we encountered there was really well done, and we were able to get back to normal schedules Thursday and Friday for everybody, and I think that was a real big feat. So thank you. Yeah, let's go.
And I did verify, I looked at the calendar, there's no more snow scheduled for the winter.
We'll hold you to that. All right, thank you, Mr. Burrow.
Thank you.
All right, that does end our information for the facilities committee.
There's no one signed up for public comment period number 2, so coming up to the updating meeting minutes. So it looks like we have an upcoming facilities committee meeting, March 24th at 6 p.m. Motion to adjourn?
On motion.
Second. Meeting adjourned.